Does he? How many churches do you have in the diocese there,
We
or
have
parishes?
we have 8 parishes. We have one on St. John, 3 on St. Thomas, 4 on St. Croix, which is the largest island. We also have 2 chapels, one on St. Croix and one on St. Thomas.
And how many priests would be assigned to the thing? Do you have an idea of the round number?
We have about 20 priests there altogether. I hesitate because we do have visiting priests. We have a priest who is now the new rector at the cathedral, who is from the Diocese of Charlotte, thanks to Bishop Curlin, who was originally from the Washington area. Their diocese kindly agreed to provide the services of a priest for our diocese.
So we have our archdiocese also has a telephone number that can be reached on, right? They're sort of providing a sort of central area of help too.
Yes, at the Archdiocesan Pastoral Center. I think if people simply call the switchboard number there, that they'll be directed to the correct office. I believe you have that number, Doctor?
I think it will be on the stage. It's on the screen. And
yes.
Here it is here.
853-3800, area code 301.
Well, I want to thank you today for coming and giving us this insight into the needs and the experiences you had. And I want to ask you for a summary or anything you want to really tell our audience about what the needs are and the rich experience you've had in the last 10 or 15 years being in that beautiful diocese. You look at the camera here and tell me.
In coming to ask for help from people in this area, I'm reminded of something Cardinal O'Boyle used to say: never be too proud to beg for those in need. And our diocese is in need. We have people who've lost their homes, lost their jobs, people who were injured in the storm. We have people who, don't have their own clothes, who are wearing borrowed things, who don't know where they're going to get a hot meal or a shower, which is a real blessing. But we have people who respond generously. And just one example, that first Sunday when I went to church, I was wearing what I had on during the storm because I had nothing else to change into, and that included very wet sneakers. The socks were still sodden. I couldn't wear them. And a woman at the cathedral took me aside and she said, "I have dry socks at home." And she took off her shoes and gave me her socks. There are families there who are taking in other families, apartments that are holding 20 people. There's a great generosity there, and I have every confidence that that kind of spirit will be met by generosity of people here. People who have families, people who know what it is to provide some security for their children, care for their sick elderly. People who realize that we are all part of the communion of saints, and that when one part hurts, the whole hurts, and that one part rejoices, we all rejoice in God's love, in the providence, in the way he uses us as instruments for his care for one another.
Well, that's very beautiful. What you mentioned, what you said also reminded me of some work we used to do with the Knights in collecting clothing for people overseas. Is there going to be a clothing drive in the Archdiocese for the Virgin Islanders?
I haven't heard that there will be a clothing drive specifically, but I do know so many of my own friends have lost all their clothing. And if people would be kind enough to share some things that would be appropriate for a tropical climate, it would be very much appreciated, especially with children's clothes. Obviously, it's very difficult to keep children clean on a day-to-day basis. If you don't have running water, you don't have electricity for a washing machine, it's hard to keep your children clothed. And yet the people of the islands are very careful, especially when their children go to school. They are immaculately presented. A matter of respect, self-respect, and respect for others. When they come to church, they come in their best clothes. The tourists might come with the bathing suit strap hanging out, but the people who live there don't. They come to God's house. They come in their best, and they bring their best.
Yes, that's the way it always should be, especially in our churches. And of course, the Knights of Columbus, as we go around in our fourth degree with our tuxedos and hats and all that, we're sort of trying to give a little message to people to spruce up a little bit.
Well, our own Knights of Columbus on St. Thomas and St. Croix, despite the tropical heat, have their full uniform complete with the plumed hats.
Well, of course, yeah. It's part of the job. It's hard, though. Well, my goodness. I want to thank you so much for coming to our program here and giving our people the opportunity to hear about the devastation in the Virgin Islands and the history and the beauty of the place. I just recommend to them all to, if they listen to the promptings of their heart and of the Holy Spirit and the Blessed Mother and their guardian angel saying, hey, come on, do something here, they will contribute and pray for you and perhaps visit and help in a very strong way. Some people will be called, I think, to go actually and find a new life there. So that's, I think that's my message to the audience, but I think you have a message too, perhaps another final message.
Thank you. I would most of all ask your prayers. It's a very difficult time for everyone there, very stressful. We need to be gentle with one another, to be patient when we're waiting 6 hours in line to get some drinking water or a tarpaulin to cover the ruins. We need to take care of one another. And that grace doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from prayers. It comes from knowing that we have brothers and sisters here who are supporting us and remembering us as we will remember you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the Knights of Columbus television program, and we hope to see you again next week. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
David considera